Hello and welcome back, and today I'm going to talk about 5 celebrities who have used DBT skills. As a quick disclaimer, not all these people have been open about having borderline personality disorder. I'm certainly not here to diagnose them. Also, some of the people that I am listing have not used the term DBT, but I will point out how they use sort of really clinical DBT skills. For those who do not know me, my name is Alicia Paz. I'm a DBT therapist. I teach DBT groups and do DBT skills coaching online and have been doing so since 2013. So first up, we have Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall is a former NFL player and has been really open about borderline personality disorder, and it has been kind of interesting through the years to watch Brandon be so public, since there are very few men who are diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and even fewer who are open to discussing it. In this article and video on BPD Video, you can see Brandon Marshall and actually Marsha Linehan, who created DBT, discussing using DBT skills. Brandon, once again, has been really honest about mental health issues, specifically borderline personality disorder. And in this article, they talk about what is DBT and how Brandon has utilized it in order to reach some personal achievements while battling emotional problems that have been really strong for him to compete against. Brandon has also been open about getting help at McLean Hospital, which has a residential borderline personality disorder program where he learned social skills and DBT skills. And both Marsha and Brandon actually spoke together at a conference a few years back and discussed radical acceptance. Next up, we have another man. This is Pete Davidson from SNL fame, and as of recording this, also potentially more famous for being Kim Kardashian's boyfriend. He has been very open about trauma in his childhood and in his life, as well as mental health struggles. It's often kind of a lot of jokes on SNL and in other formats. I would say Pete has a pretty dry sense of humor regarding talking about mental health. And on the WTF podcast, Pete Davidson revealed he had been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and how it has affected mood and relationships and how Pete views the world. In it, Pete Davidson says he has had some genuine and funny things to say about what it's like living with BPD and how he's in DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy treatment. Quote, "It's steps, it's thought processing. You have these thoughts, you have these feelings, you have these urges. You're going to freak out. Try waiting it out 10 minutes. Try going for a walk." To his fear of abandonment, when people say they're leaving and coming back, I get a really big fear they're not coming back. In this article on The Mighty, which will be linked below along with all the other articles that I got this information from, he is very open about using mindfulness, as well as what sounds like some distress tolerance skills, getting some space between a really challenging emotion and acting on it, which sounds like those sort of older behaviors and something that Pete is continuously working on. Taking a political turn, AOC posted on Twitter about 2 years back about dipping her face in a bowl of ice water in order to distress, and did so on Instagram Live, as well as shared it on Twitter. Disclaimer, specifically for this person, they did not mention having borderline personality disorder. I'm certainly not diagnosing. They also did not use the term dialectical behavioral therapy. Those who are familiar with DBT will understand the skill is TIP. It's the T for temperature. I've also heard it referred to as ice diving before, and she actually created like a step-by-step of short videos and talking about how her boyfriend taught her this in order to relieve some stress, filling up a bucket full of ice water and then dunking your face in, stating that her boyfriend and herself previously learned that dunking your face in a bowl of ice water can be a way of redirecting by forcing your body to do a kind of reset of your parasympathetic nervous system. So I'm going to try it. And I saw this post, I was tagged in this post a million times. People were like, she's doing DBT skills, she's ice diving, she's this tip, this is tip, this is tip. It's really cool to see somebody of her kind of fame, both talk about mental health, which she has done before, and stress, and also utilize this DBT skill. So that was tip and the T being temperature. Probably the top two most famous are coming up next. We have Lady Gaga, which famously came out on Oprah and talked about mental health issues, talked about utilizing DBT and did call it by name, and also talking about taking mental health medication after having a psychotic break in this interview. She also talks about a lot of past trauma and how it has affected her in present day, which is why she started medication, getting mental health help, and also utilizing DBT skills. In her interview with Oprah, Gaga also revealed that in addition to medication, she also relies on dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT. I actually have a teacher, she said. I think that DBT is a wonderful, wonderful way of dealing with mental health issues. The article goes on to discuss what is DBT, even more DBT-focused language, not necessarily from Lady Gaga's perspective, but she does add in, it is a really strong way of learning how to live, and it's a guide to understanding your emotions. I think that's actually a really good brief summary of DBT skills. Since that time, and that was in, I believe, 2020, Lady Gaga has done other interviews and been really open about her mental health, trauma, as well as utilizing medication and DBT skills since then. The last one that we will talk about is Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez has been open about issues with depression and anxiety, specifically social anxiety, and also has talked about using DBT skills, calling it by its name. There actually is a video, I believe it was a video interview with Elle magazine, which also talked to Lady Gaga, and in it she is walking through her house and going over what her morning routine looks like, and in doing so she actually grabs the Marshall in a Hand workbook, and you can see that it is written in, there's post-it notes sticking out, and she grabs it and says that every day she actually starts her day with getting up and sitting in a different room and spends time with her workbook, which is really awesome to see and hear somebody talk about, as well as hear somebody talk about how they are able to incorporate it every single day into their life. In this article from Self, Selena Gomez says, I've studied DBT, which is dialectical behavioral therapy. I feel like I practice DBT every day. That has completely changed her life. And she said she wishes more people felt comfortable talking about therapy. She also talks about the stigma of talking about mental health and having mental health conditions, how she's been in 4 treatment centers, and the article also talks about how being in the public eye, people kind of know your business more than they would normally. They're sort of more invested, and unfortunately, they can kind of have insight or feel like they have insight into what is going on in your life. I also want to point out this blurb from the Self article, which will be posted below as well. Gomez also emphasized that caring for your mental health is a long-time process and offered advice to those who are dealing with mental health illness right now. My advice isn't going to be, oh, you're going to get over it. It's actually an everyday practice, she said, adding that she tried to monitor her emotions and mental health. So if I'm thinking about something, I want to catch it before then. Or if I've been alone and isolating for too long, I'll be like, oh wait, I need to be around people I love, she explained. And like I said, I also go to therapy. You can always find ways to live in it. But once you understand it, the fear of you admitting that you have something goes away. I found this article really interesting as a whole, and if you're looking for more information on celebrities and mental health, both Lady Gaga and Selena Gomez have spoken at length about DBT, and if you just do a Google search, you'll come across tons of interviews and posts about them. Selena Gomez has even created posts on social media engaging in DBT skills, showing off the workbook. So if you're looking for a little bit more in-depth insight into what skills Selena Gomez is using, in that video that I did see, she was utilizing mindfulness in the morning. Feel free to check out that content. So once again, thank you for joining me. As a brief recap, the 5 celebrities we talked about today who use DBT skills are former NFL player Brandon Marshall, former now SNL castmate Pete Davidson, politician AOC, Lady Gaga, and lastly, Selena Gomez. I hope you found this helpful. If you'd like more DBT related content, feel free to like and follow for more. And as always, thanks for joining me and stay skillful.